All right, so this is the area right here. This is at the end of my madness, towards the end. This is not where I started or anything like that. This is after I had gone to Costa Rica. This is after I had tried the miracle cure for addiction and all that. And I came back and I moved into this house right here. I don't know if you can see, it says 422 on it. And the first black roof right here was actually my bedroom. And I rented it from good people. There's a lot of good people that live in this neighborhood, but there's also a way to walk around and end up in some places that you don't want to be. We were standing out here one day, getting high, doing our thing, and right down here, ambulance pulls up. Boom. People start coming out of the front of the house right there. A guy that was drinking heavy, getting high and all that stuff. I don't know if it was overdose or his age from cardiac arrest or what, but he fell out and died in that house down there. And I remember them pulling the stretcher out and the look on his face. He was completely limp. There was no movement, and there was just a paramedic as they were trying to load the stretcher into the ambulance. There was a paramedic just trying to tap on his chest, do anything, trying to tap on it. And they closed the door and headed on down the street. And I remember turning and looking at a guy that was standing here, and he just looked at me and said, "That's over with right there. Done." Didn't bother me a bit though. I was just worried about getting high again. And this was my alleyway right here. And I'd lie to myself and say, tomorrow, I'm gonna go get a job, I'm gonna straighten up, I'm gonna get some new clothes, and it never happened. Every morning, wake up, get a couple dollars together, or if they sent me money, I had plenty and I could go over here, right around the corner where we're about to walk to, and just a big row of trap houses, and I could buy crack, heroin, meth, Xanax, ecstasy, you name it, get anything I want. And this was my alley, right? This is where I felt safe. Walking down through here, I'm not being seen by public. And again, this is all brand new. This was all charred rubbish and brick, and it's still a mess down through here. These places are beat to death. And everybody's welcoming over here, because most of the people at the time I was here, most of these people are broke. They're on Social Security. They have no money at all. Everybody had some type of scheme or some type of hustle they could run. And one of them was for some of the females, and males by the way, turning tricks, right? It's not like they're selling their body to the next crack smoker in the house right over here. Very prominent people, politicians, lawyer, doctor, whatever, anybody, real estate agent, will pull down and come through this alley or come down one of these streets parking, knowing what they could get right here. And everybody wanted to be in on brokering the deal. It's like, I got this guy over here, he wants to have sex or whatever for money. There's a girl in here. How can I get in the middle of that somehow and get my $25 or $50 out of it? Or how can I be like, I had something to do with this. I caused this transaction to go down, so I should get to smoke some of the dope that comes as a result of that transaction. I sought out the sordid place. I moved here intentionally knowing what this area would provide for me. And all the time with the delusion in my head that I'm gonna wake up the next day and get a job or buy some new clothes and clean up, and I'm just gonna put all of this behind me. And that did not happen until I surrendered. It did not happen until I completely gave up. I was forced into it. I didn't have any intentions on going to the recovery program, homeless shelter, and I had no other options. They stopped sending money, my mother, my grandmother, nobody would help me, no kind of money, and they even denied me food. They said, I'm not buying you any food or nothing. Isn't it funny, the thought of running around down here and fitting right in, no problem. That doesn't bother me a bit. The thought of getting caught just made me nauseous. As a father now, it hits me with the females that were in there selling their bodies, and not to single out females, men did it too, but with the females, the little girls and stuff, you know, this tall, 90 pounds in there, walking out onto a random street like this, getting into a random car with any person to make $25, $50, or $100, whatever it was, bring it back here so we could then get high. And I was perfectly fine with that. And now I think about it as a father. God, that's awful, dude. To think about one of my girls, Ashlyn or Avery, being subject to that and having to walk out on them, having to tell them, I'm here if you want help, otherwise don't call me, knowing in my head where they could be and what they could be doing to get that money, it absolutely scares me to death. This is where I quit. This is the last time I was high is on this street right here at Merritt and Preston. I can't wrap my head around it, man, that 5 years ago I was standing right here, a broke, homeless crack smoker. 5 years ago. And now I've spoken Montana, New York, Utah, South Florida, you name it. Traveling around, speaking to these people, getting to live that type of life and take care of my kids, and all of it kind of started and ended right here.